Okay, a couple of people have said that they were interested in the little videos that I did back in when I was in the old Eastern Bloc countries, basically. And I guess that's true, you know, just because I'm interested in it, you make assumptions that everybody knows the history behind these things, and people don't necessarily, do they? We all know different things because we're all sort of interested in different things. So for the few that might be interested, here goes a little bit of the back history and why it all fascinates me. Russia is one thing, and that fascinates me. I love the culture, I love the architecture, I love the whole thing of Russia. I love the fact that it was communism and all of it. I'm not a communist, but I'm fascinated by it. And I think that it worked to an extent as well. Then what happened immediately after World War II, there were an awful lot of countries which the Germans had decimated, and also they had really just removed any powers that were running the countries before. So there was a lot of countries that were in absolute disarray in 1945. So it was agreed between Britain and America and Russia which of these countries would come under at least the Russian guidance, shall we say. That's what there was an initial agreement. It transpired that it was more than guidance, it was almost taken over, but it became part of the Soviet Union. There's a huge difference between Russia and the Soviet Union. Russia is a country on its own, biggest country in the world, and it has its own history, and its history goes back centuries and centuries and centuries. Of course it does, and that's what's very interesting about it. Some of the cathedrals are 600-700 years old. It's fascinating, brilliant place. Soviet Union is very modern, and Soviet Union was created shortly after World War II, 1945, 46, 47, somewhere around there, and really it sort of came about in the 50s that the Soviet Union was then built upon, and it was Czechoslovakia and Hungary and Romania and all the Baltics and so on and so forth, North and East Germany, etc., and Poland. Keep going, I know, it's like a quiz. Cuddly toys, sliding doors, just can't think of any other names. But it makes it very interesting because what they did there was an awful lot of the buildings were actually built in the 50s and 60s. So you've got that era of equality, communism, whatever you want to call it. They were all living in very, very, very similar houses, and those places still exist to this day, even though all those countries have broken away now. So that's another reason why I'm interested in the Soviet Union. It was a dictatorship of some description, really, because you weren't allowed to have any religious beliefs. You had to follow the Soviet rules and regulations. It's very, very interesting stuff.